Welcome to The Difference of 13. We're happy to have you back. I'm here with Terry, and my name is Chris, and we are here to talk about some post-operative mistakes.
We've made a few.
You recently?
Yeah, well, you know. You think I would learn by now, but no.
So for those of you who don't know, Terry had another run-in with... Not the law, but the OR.
The OR. My home away from home.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about, some of the mistakes that you see? I think this is something you brought up on the chat about because, a lot of the stuff that you've seen after all of your surgeries and done kind of unknowingly.
Yeah. Sometimes knowingly. Yeah. You get, at least my doctors give me a packet of this is what to expect, immediately post-op and then down the road. And here's a list of after 2 weeks, you can do this. After 3 weeks, you can do that. And I diligently read through all of those. And then sometimes I toss it aside and decide I feel fine. It'll be great. So I would say my biggest mistake I've made is thinking that I am ready to resume normal activities. And I'm not. And then I end up paying the price for it.
Agreed.
Fair?
No argument here. So I think, let's say somebody is going through, and I think this applies to orthopedic surgeries.
Any kind of surgery.
Cardiovascular surgeries. I did the same thing after my open heart surgery, where I showed up back trying to work a full schedule at 4 weeks after having my chest sewed back together.
And I seem to recall someone saying, maybe that's not a good idea.
Yeah, it's the same person who got told that about a week ago. Yeah.
And said, I'll be fine. Yeah. It'll be great.
Do as we say, not as we do.
Do you notice a theme here?
Yeah. So I think that's the big thing here is I want everyone listening, whatever your surgery you've had or you're potentially going to have will be, this applies across all surgeries. But I think the initial process, usually you're going to go for your preoperative visit, assuming it's not emergent. And then from there, what do? I'll let you speak to this process since you've been through this most recently.
And most often. You have your pre-op visit. As we always say, ask questions, ask lots and lots and lots of questions. When they say, you'll have minimal discomfort. They don't want to use the word pain, discomfort. Ask them, turn that pain scale back onto them. Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, what should I anticipate the first 24 hours, the first 48 hours? And ask them to give you a number. So that way, when you're at home, post-op, you'll know this is normal. If somebody just cut into my body, I should feel some discomfort.
Well, I think take whatever they tell you with a grain of salt. Your follow-up question after they give you a number should be, have you had this surgery before?
Right, because
that's one of the frustrations I ran into is everybody was telling me how good I'd be, and none of them had ever had their chest cut open. And none of them were trying to go back to the level of activity I was trying to go back to. So I think you do need to take stock of where it's coming from. Right. But definitely, ask to get some idea of some idea of what it should or should not feel like. So you go to that pre-op visit. Do you meet with the doctor in that one, or is it mostly their physician assistant?
Generally, I've met with the surgeon at those.
All right. So then you go home. You go back the next week for the surgery. You show up. Usually they have you, a couple hours early?
A couple hours early.
If you're scheduling surgery, definitely opt for the earliest one possible.
Yes.
I think that's a huge tip.
Because if they start running late, that means, you can't eat after midnight.
After midnight the day before.
So you're really, really hungry.
Yeah, so don't opt for the noon surgery. That's going to suck.
Yeah. I had one where it was scheduled pretty early, but there was a major multi-car accident, and my surgery got pushed back because they needed the ORs for that accident. I was so hungry, I was shaking, and I was about to pass out. And my surgeon said, oddly enough, if you pass out, I will not be able to do surgery on you. We'll have to rebook it for another day. So I'm like, I'm not going to pass out. There's no way. But it was miserable waiting all that time. So I definitely go first. It's not fun to wake up at the crack of dawn, but you'll be taking a nap soon enough. So it's good.
That you will. Yeah.
It's all good.
All right. So you go in, you got to obviously you give your clothes up. They put you in the beautiful,
the lovely nightgown,
lovely surgical gowns. You lay down, they'll put the lines and leads in you. They'll put the IVs in you, basically. They put you to sleep. Sometimes they rolled me into I was awake when I was rolled into the OR.
I've been awake and asleep. There's been I don't like being awake when they bring me in there because it's just...
It was weird walking onto the table where I knew they were going to like cut my chest open.
And there's all that equipment. It's just... I felt like I didn't need to really see that.
And if you do have to go in, it is going to be cold. That's normal. Expect that. It's going to be cold in there. But then what happens?
Then the next thing you know, you wake up and you don't know where you are, what day it is, what has happened.
And hopefully one of your family members or friends has been videoing you waking up and saying lots of ridiculous things because that makes for funny watching later.
I've always asked the nurses, like, when I was waking up, did I say anything strange? And I was like, no, you were fine. I'm like, I bet I was. And I bet they're going to go home tonight at dinner going, you know what this girl said today after she was waking up? Yeah.
Yeah, if they don't tell you, I'd be worried.
Yeah, they're like, no, you were just fine. I'm like, oh, okay. But you wake up. I usually have a scratchy throat from the tube that they'll put down to help you breathe. Disoriented. If you are there as the caregiver, sometimes when people come out of anesthesia, they can be very emotional, either upset and crying or angry.
You were the angry one, weren't you?
Probably so. Again, everybody's like, no, you were great. I'm like, no, I wasn't. I'm sure. But apparently little kids, when they come out of anesthesia, they can be like psychotic practically. So
I'll have to ask my parents how I was.
Some parents aren't prepared for that. And it can be intense. You just don't know what to expect. So, but anyway, so you wake up, scratch your throat. You kind of don't know where you are. They'll ask you if you want something to drink. Yes, I've been dying for something to drink, and they might give you some crackers or whatever. Let them know if you're starting to have an upset stomach because, again, being nauseous after anesthesia is very common.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And then, so then you'll go to usually, depending what type of surgery you have, you may be at a step-down unit. When I had my heart, all that done, I was ICU first, and then step down, and then you went to a floor. If it's orthopedic, you might just go right to the floor pretty quickly after the step down unit when you're kind of stabilized. Home. Yeah, or you go home that day. So let's kind of fast forward. You're in the hospital. Yada yada yada. You get better, you go home. Now, if anyone is curious about what happens into hospital, I was in the hospital for 5 days after mine. Were you there for a day, 2 days?
After which one?
Oh, yeah, never mind.
Some of them, I think the longest I've ever stayed has been like 2 days.
2 days, yeah. Okay. So I was there for 5 days. But then you get home, and then, what are the top mistakes when people get home? What are the top, we'll say, 3 to 5 mistakes people make that you see or that you've made?
Not preparing beforehand.
Mm-hmm. So explain that.
Get your sleep area set up. If you're going to be on crutches and you have little area rugs and things that you could move that stuff. Mm-hmm. Move furniture if you have to make sure that you have an easy way to navigate.
Clear pathways.
If you have a 2-story house, if there's some way you can work out sleeping arrangements on the first floor, do it. Mm-hmm. Because crutches and stairs are terrifying. I've done it many times and I don't enjoy it. So like I said, kind of think through beforehand. When I had my shoulder surgery and I knew I wasn't going to be able to use my left arm, I actually spent like a weekend pretending that I could not use my left arm. And how would I make coffee in the morning? How would I make lunch for myself? And sort of doing a trial run to see what I needed to adjust before having surgery and get things set up.
Yeah, like simple things like getting dressed and how do you put on a bra with one arm?
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't. That's how you do it.
But like those are things that people don't think about.
How do you comb your hair? That's if you're one of these girls who has, the flat irons and all of that. So kind of think through those things beforehand so that you can start preparing or getting things that you might need to help you. Some of my surgeries, I was non-weight bearing and showering. I had to get a chair to put in the shower because I couldn't stand on one leg and the entire time to take a shower. So I got a shower chair ahead of time, and that made a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. So kind of step one is, or the most number one would be plan.
Plan.
So make sure you plan. Mm-hmm. What else?
So you get home and you get comfy in bed and you think, oh, friends are going to come visit. No. Take a nap. Sleep. Sleep as much as you can those first couple of days. They tell you to stay ahead with the pain medications. I have personally mixed feelings on that. I think sometimes we over-medicate a little bit on that because we don't want to feel any pain whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Bottom line, somebody is cut into your body. It's not going to feel good. You're going to be uncomfortable. And I'm sort of okay with that. I can tolerate some discomfort because I don't like taking pain meds.
Yeah, and I think that definitely is person dependent in terms of, I'm along your lines of, I want to know exactly how it feels. Mm-hmm. So I don't tend to take too much. But at the same time, you do need to sleep and you need to rest.
Right.
And that is your most powerful ability, body's most powerful way to heal is by sleeping. So if you're not able to sleep because the pain is so bad, like you need to take pain meds probably.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's definitely a personal decision that people make. And I think different personalities do better with different types. And but I would definitely agree that figuring out your medication schedule as much as you can prior is definitely a mistake people make, is that they don't figure that out beforehand. Mm-hmm. And then they're kind of left guessing, or they don't have that discussion with the doctor in terms of, how many pills are you giving me? If I run out of pills or it's still hurting after 5 days and I don't have any pills, what now? Mm-hmm. So I think that's an important piece definitely to look into as well too.
So like I said, mistake, having too many people there the first few days. You just want to rest. You don't feel great. You probably don't look great because they don't let you shower. Excuse me, for, first few days. Just lay low, watch some TV, some Netflix, listen to a book on tape. Then that's when I get myself into trouble. I'm good the first couple of days, and then I start to feel okay because I've had a little bit of sleep, the anesthesia's worn off, and I'm like, even though I'm on crutches, I can still do laundry. Watch, I can do this. And trying to get back into normal life way too fast because I, quote, don't feel that bad. Mm-hmm. And my body is not ready for it because it's still healing. Big mistake I see a lot of people make is the doctor said, like with hip knee surgery, no weight bearing. And I've had other people tell me that, well, it doesn't hurt if I put my weight on it. Therefore, it's okay. But that's not true because even though it doesn't hurt, that doesn't mean that part of your body has healed. Mm-hmm. So
I think definitely need to respect healing timelines, mm-hmm. particularly in the orthopedic world. I think that's an important piece to it, big time. So definitely pay attention to the doctors. I think one of if I had to put in kind of the number 5 mistake, I would say it's a lot of times after surgery, doctors will give you a protocol, mm-hmm. Kind of what to expect in weeks 1 to 4 weeks. And they're very much time-based. And I would just caution people, if you're going to have surgery, you're currently in your post-operative stage, those are timelines. Those are guidelines. Those aren't like, it doesn't happen that it magically, when it changes from week 4 to 5, that all of a sudden you can do everything in the week 5 to 8 category, mm-hmm. and you're like exonerated from weeks 1 to 4. So it is, some people progress through that more quickly. Some people progress through that more slowly. That is totally those protocols are totally just handed down from one surgeon to the next. And they have absolutely no time-based merit to them.
The one
or criterion-based merit
that I got so frustrated with was after one of my hip surgeries, and they said, after 6 weeks you can get off of crutches. And I came in for my physical therapy visit, and I was all excited, like, no more crutches. And you said, well, can you do, I forget the different things you asked me if I could do. And I said, no. And you said, well, your body's not ready to be off of crutches yet. And I was just devastated. I was so tired of being on crutches.
Yeah. But I think that's, your tissue. And now that we know that it's because you had Ehlers-Danlos, mm-hmm. like the healing took longer.
Even though the timeline said 6 weeks, my body wasn't there yet.
Correct. So at 6 weeks, that's just purely based on the fact that, like bone in that instance, mm-hmm. 4 to 6 weeks, it should be pretty much healed. That's all that's based off of. Now, it doesn't go off of the fact that you couldn't step without discomfort. You couldn't, like, it doesn't bring into to play all the other elements of it. And I think that's when you're looking at your post-operative protocols with your therapist is, all right, these are what, based on the timeline, these are all the things that should be okay at this point. But that's, in the world of shoulds, you can get in trouble. So I think that's where it's a matter of really looking at, okay, have you met these criterion? And even before you go into the surgery, ask the doctor, what are the criterion in order for me to move from this phase to this phase? Or your physical therapist, or whoever it is that you're working with in terms of, what is that protocol in relationship to in terms of your recovery? And definitely look for more of a criterion-based protocol and return to activity as opposed to, hey, it's been 8 weeks, I should be good to go.
Right. Because we don't all follow the same timeline. But on the flip side, bone does not heal faster than, you can't make it heal faster. It takes, so even though you don't have pain, you still need to respect that things were done that need to heal.
Yeah. So, if it's orthopedic, they saw you. It's not, it's not gentle.
No, it's not. So. That would be one of my pre-op things. There's videos on YouTube of surgeries. I personally don't want to see that. I know a lot of people.
See, I love watching it.
A lot of people. I'm like, I don't want to know what they're doing. I just want to. No, even afterwards, I don't want to see it. It's because sometimes it's pretty barbaric.
That it is.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, I think to recap, our 5 biggest mistakes that we've kind of come up with are, I think number 1, people don't have a post-op plan. So definitely make sure you've got a plan for post-op. Make sure you figured out how you need to set up your house, how you're going to do all your activities of daily living, showering, cooking, all that sort of stuff. Number 2 would be, a lot of people don't rest as much as they need to, particularly in the beginning. All the friends want to come see you, see how you're doing. It's okay to tell them next week.
Yeah.
The third would be people a lot of times struggle with the medication schedules. So either not taking enough or taking too much. I think that needs to be a conversation with the doctor and your physical therapist in terms of like when should you be taking it, when shouldn't you?
Right, because again, one size doesn't fit all.
Correct. And then, obviously the doctor is going to prescribe it. The physical therapist can help you in terms of like with figuring out the best timing of when to take it to help your therapy to be the most effective, those sorts of things. And then number 4, we had, basically trying to return to life too quickly. So you get past that initial, you're down and out, starting to feel a little bit better. I think just gradually working yourself back into your daily life. Try to kind of do it step by step. Make sure generally you're good that day that you increase, and then you're good the next morning when you wake up. And if you've met those 2 criterion, then whatever you did in the last 24 hours was good, and you can start to increase it from there. And I think the final one would be, I think when you're looking at rehab protocols, make sure you're going based off criterion to move to the next level and not just time. So I think that's pretty solid 5 there.
So after you have open heart surgery, you should not try to come back and work a 12-hour day. In 4 weeks.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But
maybe that first few weeks, 2 or 3 hour days, kind of ease back into it.
I'm not going to say it was the smartest thing to do, but I did what needed to be done. But we appreciate you listening and hanging in with us here today. And hopefully if you are having surgery or, this is helpful. If you know somebody that's going to be having surgery or maybe thinking about it, please go ahead and share this with them.
Yeah.
This can be very, very helpful for them in terms of helping them feel more comfortable going into that surgery, being rolled into that room and having done whatever's going to be done. And, if you found this helpful, definitely please give us, thumbs up on YouTube if you're watching, as well as if you're, wherever you're listening to, 5-star reviews would be awesome.
And leave us comments. Tell us what some of your not so smart moves you've made after surgery.
That'd probably be a pretty funny list. So.
I know. Yeah.
The not so top 10.
Yeah.
So anyway, but hopefully wherever you were going, you're there now, and we aren't holding you up by just talking too long. So hopefully you got something out of today. Definitely be sure to tune in for the next episode. It's going to be a doozy, and Terry told me that was all I was allowed to tell you.
Yes.
I apparently gave too much away last time. So
He always does.
Yeah. So thanks a lot for hanging out with us, and we will see you on the flip side.
Bye.